All right, next day, epoxy's cured, and that's what we're left with. I don't know about you, but I mean, I might just leave it like this. It's a comfy looking handle. Okay, maybe not. From this point, I just need to draw some lines on this block to see where I need to cut out. Need to decide what my handle shape's going to be and all that good stuff. Okay, I'm going to take my height gauge. I don't even know if that's what this is called, height gauge. I can't remember, but we'll pretend. Anyway, got to put my pencil in here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 1, 2, 3 blocks. I'm going to put one right here. And then, actually I'm going to turn this sideways. And then we got to put this on here like this. Uh-oh, I might not be able to do this. Wait, we'll just have to use 2 1, 2, 3 blocks. There we go. Okay, so we're going to set that on there like that. And that way, we've got a nice line that's going to show us the back side of our bolster, and then we'll be able to draw a line right across here. But we have to take this and get it up to the height we need, so it's lined up with the top of these 1, 2, 3 blocks. About there. Then lock this down, and then we can draw a line across here like so, and that's going to give us a straight line across the back side of our knife. And then also do the same thing on this side, so when we take this material off, we know that we're square on the back side. And then the other thing I like to do, even though I'm not really going to do a wah style handle, is I'm going to do the other side of the bolster as well, so I have nice straight lines. Like that. So now what I'll do is I'll measure how long I want the handle and then start drawing my shape on here. Almost forgot to hit record on here, but I'm kind of going with a different shape on this knife a little bit, because I came up with an idea last night of what I wanted to try. So I'm just doing a slightly different shape. So I think we're going to start about here and work with that. Make sure I got this length about right. Yeah. So I usually do 5 inches to the back side and about 4 inches to the front side here from the front of the bolster. So we're looking pretty good on the size. So I need to cut this shape out. I'm going to go slightly larger than this. And then we're going to grind down from that. And then the beauty of this is I still have my mark, my center mark of how far in my tang went. So I definitely don't want to go inside, you know, about this, or I'm going to start running into issues with grinding into the epoxy, which isn't a good look. Okay, so we're back over to the dark side of the shop. And so I ground this side just a little bit so this will run flat. And I'm just going to chop this off with the bandsaw. Lower lower this down a little bit to be safe. And then it's going to cut away. All right, and we'll just leave that bottom part. That's close enough. I'm over here at the grinder again. I've got a 60 grit belt on, and I'm just gonna go through and start taking this down closer to the lines and see if we can't get a better shape on this. And because I put a piece of brass in here, I kind of have to keep an eye on the heat so I don't burn out the epoxy that's in this. I'm gonna use my small round wheel to get a nice curve up into here. Here we are back over at the 1, 2, 3 blocks. So what I need to do is get a line straight across so I have a center line on this handle because it is kinked just a little bit. So I'm going to put the flat on the 1, 2, 3 block, and then I've already got my height gauge, height scribe, whatever it is, set up to the center of the spine. And then all I've got to do is come over here and draw a line like that. And then from there, I'm also going to drop this down. So from the center there, I'm going to go ahead and zero this out. And then we're going to go down. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. So we'll go down 3 thousandths. And then we'll draw another line here. And then we'll go the opposite way. 2, 3. Right there. And then same thing. So now we've kind of got a line because this bolster's a little wide on one side. So now I've got a line showing me widths, and I'll be able to take the bolster down so it's even on both sides. So anyway, with these lines, I'll be able to take care of getting this handle in line with the blade. And then while I'm here, I might as well draw lines on the inside as well. So I'm really hoping all that made sense. If it doesn't, and you really need clarification, you know, don't hesitate to ask me. But also remember that, you know, you don't have to be this exact with this stuff. You can eyeball it, and usually it's going to come out just fine. So from this point, I'm going to do a taper from the front of the bolster to here, so we can get as much width as we can out of this thing, just right here. So I'm going to do something like this. Draw a line here. And then draw a line here. Oops, that's not going to be quite right. So something like this. And that's pretty close. And it'll be adjusted a little bit as I go, but this will be the initial grind right here. And then this, I'm going to take all the way out as far as I can. And then essentially, we're just going to do a little rounded area in here. Something like that. Pretty ugly, but it'll make sense when we get it done. So this part's going to take a little bit of time because I'm going to be grinding into the wood and the bolster and the brass. So I'm going to have to do a little bit at a time and then let it cool. And I really don't want to dunk this in water because even though this wood's stabilized, it's still wood. It's not completely waterproof, you know. Stabilizing basically makes it so it doesn't expand and contract, but the wood is still there. And I've got the 60 grit on here again. I think I'm going to throw a 36 grit on. It'll help with the heat buildup. much better. And I'm just checking as I go to make sure I don't get out of hand with things. All right, got a little. Okay, we got this taper here. Looks pretty good. All right, on to the dish area back here. And just go slowly. I've got the little dishes in here toward the back of the handle. Obviously you can tell they're not perfectly straight. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the facets in the top part of the handle and then in right here. But what I want to do is kind of do a little carving back here. So I can do this with a small wheel, but it seems like it's a little easier by hand with a rasp. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the top where the facet is, and then I'm going to angle it more down here. So it's going to take a hard curve right here. So it'll be curved more at the bottom. So back here there's more of an angle. So it angles in. So it's like a triangle kind of this way. And then when I get to the back, I'm going to have a facet here. And then from the top of that facet, I'm also going to dish it there as well. So hopefully that looks okay. But basically, I'm just eyeballing a 45-degree angle on these. Just getting them as close as I can to even. right, I've got my main facets all put in here. You can see along the back here. They're not perfectly even, but they will be. So I've got all this. I'm going to do the rest of this by hand, these ones right here, and then I'm going to start carving out that little area back here that I was talking about. And then I've just got some sandpaper wrapped around a file here. I just want to get a nice smooth finish with no bumps on it, which it's actually pretty close to where I want it. The transition between the harder material, like the brass and the wood, is always a little bit of a challenge for me. But when I've got a harder backer on here, it doesn't want to flex and take more off of the wood than the steel, so we can get a nice smooth finish on there. Feeling pretty good. But I think you get the gist. I'll be at this for a little while. So when I'm done with this part, then we'll come back and show you how I do the next part. Okay, I got my facets pretty cleaned up along the front area right here. So now on this back area, what I want to do is basically leave this spot alone. Don't touch that, but I'm going to dig it out this way so it angles more up that way, and I'm going to dish it here and then dish it there. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, hopefully it makes sense when I'm done with it. But I'm going to use my rasp and just start digging this out, and you can see I've got some lines on here that I don't want to go past. So I'm going to use this rasp and just start going at it. So I'm just trying to stay within my lines right here and not go past those. If I do, I basically just have to screw with the facets again. And then you can see I've got a line in here. That's my center line, so I can keep it even in here as well. All right, so I'm just gonna keep this going. I will come back when I'm done with the main shaping of this. Yeah, I figured it's time for a little update. So I'm done with the file, and now I've got a little sanding stick with some rubber on the end. Just kind of going over this stuff, getting all the file marks out of here and refining the shape a little bit so that each side is even and all that good stuff. Kind of just changing things as I go, as I see, you know, things that I might like better. I'll add some shapes and stuff like that. But this takes some time. You know, you gotta be patient with this when you're doing silly things like this. If not, you basically just you're gonna screw it up, and then you're gonna get mad, and then, you know, do what you do when you get mad. And if you feel, I don't know if this works for everybody, but if you kind of feel both sides, you can usually feel when something's out of whack. Like right here on this side, I have a little bump right here that I don't have on the other side. So I'm going to try to work this area right here until that bump is gone. Sometimes if you close your eyes, it kind of helps feel things a little bit better. And I mean, you have to also remember that this stuff it's handmade. You can make it look pretty, but unless you're Nick Wheeler, you're not going to make this look like it was made by a machine. Because Nick Wheeler is a machine. A human machine. This guy is crazy. If you don't know who he is, look at some of his knives, and you'll be impressed. Alright, I'm just going to check this. Yep, we're pretty close to even there. So I'm going to take this, and I got to put my facets in right here. I'm going to do that with the small wheel. And I'll bring you over here so you can watch me try not to screw up. .45-degree angle. I'm trying to be consistent with my movement, not jabbing at it and moving back and forth. Usually get better lines this way. Okay, we're going to call this one good right here because the basic handle shaping is done and the rest of this is going to be hand sanding. So I still have to hand sand the blade and then the bolster and then into the handle. And as I do that, I'll clean up some of these lines. They're pretty good just off the machine and with the rasp, but there's a few little whoop-de-woos, hizzy-hoos, whatever I said in that last video. Anyway, that's where we're going to end here. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, and I will do my best to answer. Again, thanks a lot for joining me on this, and we'll see you in the next video.